Viewer dissection is advised. Wait, that can't be correct.
There are things in this world we don't understand.
Some people don't believe in ghosts. Some people do believe in ghosts. Some people look for ghosts by using strange and seemingly random equipment, honestly, and by shouting into dark, empty rooms with no camera crews following me around. Because, frankly, none of my friends wanted to participate in this. I'm on the hunt to find ghosts. These are my ghost shenanigans. Only on the Used to Be About Traveling channel. If you've watched for a while, I'm sure you've figured out that, in addition to, our technology and LGBTQ plus the rights of living things in general has always been something I've been rather passionate about. And cute furries too, don't forget that. I like me some science. The reality we live in is weird and interesting and pretty amazing. Now, I watch a lot of ghost hunting shows, not because I think ghosts are really like a thing, but because that stuff is so entertaining. The people who came up with that, if they wanted watch time, they got it. I want to start by saying that there are a lot of smart people who believe in ghosts. If you ever meet a spooky spec and convince them to go up to some local uni and do a bunch of tests, I imagine a scientist trying to put an electrode on the ghost's forehead, but the scientist's hand goes right through the ghost's head and sticks it to the back of the chair because, ghosts are ghostly and stuff. So the scientists have no idea. It's just like an invisible dude walking around, it's ghosts. It's ghosts. That's the most logical explanation. I'm perfectly fine with that. I would love that, actually. That sounds awesome. A huge part of science is changing your conclusions based on new evidence. And what I think some people forget is that if ghosts are real, they would be explained scientifically, just like gravity or how a brain works. It would play into the logic we have. See that orange dot right there? That's paint. I'm not turning orange. If you watching this have some crazy ghost story that you can't explain, there's no explanation, and you've tried your best to look into all possibilities, but it's a mystery. I am with you. I don't want you to feel as if I'm against you in some way. Sometimes stuff is compelling and it's totally a case of, that needs more investigation. And if it can't be investigated, sometimes it just has to stay a mystery. If you are looking for the truth, we are on the same side. So do stick around. Here's a quote I'm going to throw in here. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Carl Sagan, I believe. Also, this is somewhat related. The magician James Randi, from 1964 to 2015, had this thing called the $1 million Paranormal Challenge. It's really simple. If someone could prove that they have paranormal abilities in a controlled test, they'd get $1 million. That's it. It's that simple. And bonds. So if you could talk to ghosts or something like that, why would you deny $1 million? Well, a lot of psychics and people in the public eye who make a living by, trying to talk to people's dead loved ones, just refused to attempt this challenge. A lot of paranormal peoples tried but failed. Over 1,000 psychics, am I saying that right? Tried. There was always an explanation, some other way to prove it besides, hey, you have a magical ability. If you really can talk to ghosts, why wouldn't you prove it? I personally really like the idea of being able to, always be around. Sadly, the idea of a person having a spirit of sorts, this thing that sticks around no matter what happens to your physical body, it doesn't appear to be the case. There's simply no physical evidence of that being a thing. This leads me to an important distinction I'd like to make. There's a logical fallacy called an argument from ignorance. And it goes just like this, right? Just because you cannot disprove an argument does not mean that argument is true. For example, I could say that I am actually Nicolas Cage. Any appearance of my face has been CGI, and I'm just doing a voice. There's no evidence proving I'm Nicolas Cage, yet there isn't any evidence proving that I'm not Nicolas Cage. So, does this mean I'm Nicolas Cage? No, of course not. You have to apply that same logic to discussions like this, where if I take a picture and there's a floating circle, just in front of me, but my lens appears clean and I didn't see any bugs fly by, does that mean it's a magical energy orb? Not necessarily. It seems that life is a biological machine. Oh my gosh, wait, my one light's not on. Oh no, my light's dead. You know what? Maybe it's a ghost sucking the battery dry. It's not the fact that I haven't charged the battery in at least a month. Sometime later after charging, I'm back. What was I babbling about today? I would like to parody some of those ghost hunting shows I was talking about earlier. Those spooky shows, dude, it's fun stuff. The one I watch the most rhymes with host bliventures. I'm sure they're nice guys. I'm not gonna say the name of it because it seems like my thing at this point is to subtweet people in video form. I'm sure there's a word for that isn't subtweeting, but sometimes it just gets to the point where I sort of feel like they're doing it for the money. Maybe that's cliche, but seriously. First, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but in the ghost hunting show I watched the most, in their intro, you can see Casey Neistat right there. Am I off base? That's Casey. Was he vlogging and he just... Love you, Casey. In even recent episodes of these ghost hunting shows, they have these grainy, noisy recorders that they use to capture these ghost voices, these EVPs as they call them. A low quality recorder is going to be picking up background noise. If you're carrying around like a $3,000, $10,000 Pro TV camera, it's not going to pick up any background noise, and as such, you're not going to catch any wind blowing, house creaks, pants shuffling that you could understand as a ghost voice, you know? I am here in the world's most haunted room. And we are actually going to try to conduct a EVP session with my fancy recorder here. It was only $1 on eBay. Okay, let's see here. I think you just... This is the strangest SD card I've ever seen. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh. Are there any ghosts listening? Show yourself, ghosts. Did you hear that? After further analysis, we believe this is a spirit saying pumpkin. These shows use a lot of illusions. For example, here is some top secret audio I recorded of a spooky specter. Bar. Now, what is that voice saying? One of our audio technicians thinks it is saying the word far. Bar. Now, others hear supercalifragilistic. Supercalifragilistic. Okay, obviously that was a joke, but seriously, here's the audio I played the first time round, but another audio technician we have on my Ghost Shenanigans team thinks that the spirit is saying the word bar. Bar. You can go back to when I originally played that audio clip, first time, ignoring the supercalifragilistic joke. The whole time, it's been the same recording. Haven't changed it at all. You may have heard bar, or far, or lar, or whatever. Because I said we think it's the word far, you might have misheard it. It's an interesting illusion that these ghost shows use all the time in order to form gibberish into ghost talk. Now, of course, that really was my voice, but you can sort of apply that whole effect onto any sound. Another thing these shows do is they always film in night vision, and it's always green and grainy. We have color night vision. I'm not sure if anybody's told them we have the technology. If I was one of the most popular paranormal, ghostly investigating shows, I'd want to have the highest quality equipment I could get my hands on. Why is it green, you know? I think it's on purpose. Like, I think they're doing it to make it feel creepy. It doesn't have to be green. It could be red, it could be blue, it could be pink, it could be ultraviolet, a color we can't even see. Wow, that was an amazing segue, Avery. Do ghosts see with human eyesight? You know, because if I was a floating ball of energy, I would think I'd be able to see in any light wave imaginable. Night vision on cameras typically uses light, just a light that humans can't see. They always go out at night and they always have all the lights off inside the building. I assume they don't want to scare the ghosts away maybe or something like that. But if you're turning off all the lights and then turning this light on your camera that only humans can't see, to the ghost it's gonna look like you're turning off all the lights and then just turning on another light. Like, do you see what I'm saying? And if it's not about like spooking the ghosts, it's like some sort of thing where the spirits can only manifest themselves in the dark, you know? It's not about freaking the spirit itself away, it's about the way they appear, like the logic of it or something. Wouldn't the night vision play into that as well? Like, it's just more light. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. I know mantis shrimps can see ultraviolet light. Like, can you not use UV night vision if you're hunting for mantis shrimp ghosts? This is a great time to try out my new ghost detector. Now, it says on here detector radiation, but it doesn't it detects ghost radiation, so that's why it's so useful. And it's actually holographic, so when we just... Whoa. It's beeping off the charts. Is this proof of a spirit trying to communicate with us? Oh my gosh, don't even get me started on the EMF detectors. These are devices that detect electromagnetic fields, and you see them on every ghost hunting show imaginable. Why would you want to detect electromagnetic fields? Well, low frequency EMF, the fields produced by stuff like your phone or maybe this camera, are thought to be harmless, but if they are truly harmless, or it's just like a thing where we haven't figured out that they're horrible for us yet, is still up for debate. Regardless, you can use an EMF detector to detect fields from stuff like your phone, from a cell phone tower. There's a lot of technical and engineering application. At some point though, somebody decided that they can also be used to measure spookiness levels. I think the idea started from a logical place. You know, humans have a small amount of electricity inside our brain and our nerves, so maybe if you pick up a seemingly random electromagnetic field, maybe it's a disembodied human, which makes sense at first, honestly, but then you take into account that everything has an electromagnetic field. Atoms have electromagnetic fields. Electronic devices, wires, freaking radio waves, magnets, they can all be picked up on an EMF detector. If you've ever taken a look at a toolbox, okay, you may find a device called a stud finder. Now, you use it by going up to somebody and you place it close to them, and the device tells you how attractive they are. It's a little GPS detector, and it gives you an arrow to the closest deer persona. Kidding, that's a joke. Pretend this is a stud finder. You hold the thing up to a wall, okay? And you move it around, and it tells you, detects a support in the wall. It's called a stud. It's a wood plank inside the wall. Say you wanted to run through the wall. You don't want to run through a spot where there's a wood plank in there. You're not going to get through that. So a stud finder is a great tool to use. Saying an EMF detector detects ghosts is like picking up a stud finder and waving it around. Eventually you move up against a wall, beep, 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 and you're like, whoa, it's a ghost. It's not that it's a stud in the wall, it's a ghost. Of course, this analogy starts to break down a little bit when you consider, in this scenario, studs, supports in the wall would have to be invisible. They'd also have to be produced by every electronic device, magnets, wires, radio waves, Wi-Fi waves. In that case, I'd pick up the stud finder and move it around, and it'd beep beeping all over the place. Do you know why? Sorry, I'm getting really into this. Do you know why it would be beeping? There's invisible studs all over the place. There's invisible electromagnetic fields everywhere. Doesn't mean it's ghosts. Doesn't mean it's ghosts. I would love it to be ghosts. It doesn't mean that it is though. Magnetic fields are awesome. You ever take two magnets and like stick them together? Just try to like push them together? That stuff is awesome. You don't have to try to make magnets and magnetic fields more interesting. You don't have to throw ghosts in. While I was writing my script here, you know, I was watching host bliventures and trying to analyze that show logically. Oh my gosh. Any ghost show for that matter, as far as I'm concerned, makes me want to get possessed. We'll get to that more later, of course, but I'm sitting there watching a dude with like really, really amazing emo hipster glasses. He just like fell over, and the other dudes are like, oh dude, what's wrong, man? What happened? And they're like, everybody's freaking out, and he just tripped, and he's like, a ghost pushed me. And I'm just sitting there like, what am I doing? And if I wasn't watching that show, I'd be dancing around with paws on my hands, abnormally large paws, being like, subscribe, subscribe. I would rather do that. Do you feel my pain? I just remember thinking, that ghost hunting show has to be a comedy. It has to be. The guy who hosts it, McLagans, if that show is a comedy, you got me. It could be one of the greatest satirical works of all time. Fantastic. Another tool you see paranormal investigators, you know, using, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a little box, and it has a screen on it, and words pop up on the screen, and the idea is that it's the ghost trying to say those words, and it's like the ghost is communicating it through electronic means somehow. I always assumed it was some crazy ghost hunting technology. It is not. The place that sells them, seen right here, they are known as digitaldowsing.com. Let me remind you, this place also makes non-ironic dowsing rods. Right there. If you don't know what a dowsing rod is, just give that a Google, look at the Wikipedia page, you'll learn all you need to know there. They also sell a meditation pyramid. Do you see that? Wow. You can clearly see that we are in good hands. According to this site, the little device that they have where the stuff comes up on screen and it tells you all about it, it says right there, it converts environmental readings into words. Environmental readings, what does it mean by that? It means temperature and electromagnetic field readings. So essentially, the idea is, I'm a ghost. I can go up to this device and make the device exactly 25 degrees Celsius, and then that in turn, the device says, oh, 25 degrees Celsius, that's the word boo. There are so many problems with this. How is a ghost supposed to know what each temperature means? Like, do they do it through trial and error? I get the idea of, like, you know, if a ghost had an electromagnetic field, you could detect them, but like, are they able to manipulate their electromagnetic field at will? If they are able to do that, why can they not see the light off of a night vision camera? But this gets deeper, because as I was about to film this, I was looking for this website, Digital Dowsing. I came across a Popular Mechanics article. Now, Popular Mechanics is a, I don't know, they're not some sort of just rinky-dink website. They did this article about paranormal investigation, ghost hunting gadgets. It's an interesting read. They talk about, right there, Digital Dowsing, Bill Chappell, that's the guy who started the website Digital Dowsing. Sorry, I'm using real names now because I can't, this article says the guy's real name, so. If you've ever watched Host Bliventures, Mac Baggins is always talking about this guy, Bill Chappell, because Bill Chappell is supposed to be this, like, paranormal devices investigator. He runs Digital Dowsing. He declined an interview request. However, he stated, I'm assuming he stated this to the person writing the article, I do not believe in ghosts or spirits. The unmistakable conclusion, it is us, we are the ghosts. I'm not even sure who I'm talking to at this point, because the guy who created these ghost hunting devices doesn't believe in them anymore. If that dude doesn't believe in paranormal stuff anymore, why is he selling paranormal hunting devices for $1,200? Like, not to even mention the logic behind such a device. Is there a ghost dictionary where they can go in and say, okay, I need to make the device 75 degrees? Can they even control the temperature? And obviously this device can't tell the difference between like a draft or like the AC turning on and a ghostly cold spot, right? I mean, so instead, I have this die right here, and I'm going to roll the die, and basically any ghost here are going to flip it until the die, or dice, or however you want to say it, gets to the word they want to say. Okay, ready? Here's the dice. Ready, roll. Okay, on the very top it has 030. Is this a spirit telling us that it notices something and wants to know what it is? Asterix pounces, Asterix. We are now going to try to look for physical manifestations of ghosts. Are there any ghosts there? Oh my gosh. Do you see that? Do you see there's an orb right over there? Reviewing the footage, we can see a small ghost energy orb up here. We believe that this is not a speck of dust because don't ask any questions, okay? Whenever these shows mention orbs, I'm always like, I can't snap with that hand. Always like, wow. There are so many other things it could be besides some ghostly energy. Often, it's just caused by a flash of a camera. Flash illuminates bits of dust. Same thing goes for night vision cameras. Could be dust, could be a bug, could be water droplets in the air. It's a thing called backscatter. You can look that up. And if it's not that, it could be a bunch of other things too. It could be the camera's optics, could be a scratch in the lens or a simple lens flare from even out of the view of the camera. If this hasn't been enough for you, I present to you the straw that broke the Avery's back. A lot of shows in this paranormal genre, including the show I've been effectively subtweeting this whole time, mention
Possession.
Nay, mention is not the correct word. The hosts of the show often get possessed. Seriously, they say like, at this point, I am now being controlled by some entity. I was going to have a bit where I was like, you know, if you want to get possessed in the comfort of your own home, you know, it's not hurting anybody, so go ahead. But the reality is, belief in possession kills people. Really? How could it kill people, Avery? Are you exaggerating? There have been a shocking amount of cases recently of people dying because of exorcisms gone wrong. Possession was created hundreds of years ago to explain mental illness and people doing taboo things. But even after we figured out that mental illness exists and how people can express themselves in their own ways, it's still around. It's still a thing. I really don't want to go into specific cases because if I'm being honest, it's so violent and so scary. Google death by exorcism and you can find lists of innocent people recently being physically abused in the name of driving out demons. Like, are we still doing this? I found this website actually.
Really drives the point home for me personally.
I assume this website is the leading website on possession, Spiritual Research Foundation. This website seems so prestigious. Right here. Do you see this? Homosexual feelings are caused by a man being possessed by a female. Physical causes, 5% due to hormonal changes. Psychological causes, 10%. Spiritual cases, 85%. It is because of this website that the Google search, "Are gay people possessed?" is now in my Google search history. Mainly ghosts. Fantastic. I'm so glad I read about this. This is genius. They've cracked the case. Have I been possessed this whole time? You probably shouldn't listen to this video if I've been possessed this whole time. It's so ridiculous. I'm sorry. This is so difficult for me to even joke about because it's just so ridiculous. I have so many questions. Are pan people possessed by ghosts of every gender? Is that how that works? Oh my gosh, I'm getting dumber every second I sit here staring at this website. Are all ghost hunting shows completely fake? It's hard to know for sure. I would like to think that most of them are just misguided. Perhaps the people on the show don't realize the other ways to explain the stuff that happens. Last but certainly not least, I thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting, and I hope you can pass the information discussed on to further the quest for truth and knowledge. If you enjoyed this, you could watch some of my other stuff or find me on other places by, looking in the description or that. Bye-bye. Hey, guess what? Every single person failed.